So,
What do we got, dude?
what do we full swing.
Full swing. Hey, did you watch the whole thing?
I'm like a golf kind of like junkie, so I watched all 8 of them like
That's what I
just like in
figured.
2
Okay,
days.
so you guys watched all of them. I've seen like 3.5.
I think I watched
episodes.
6 or 7. Not all, but I'm right there.
It kind of, it's very front loaded.
Yeah.
As far as the whole entertainment of it goes, right?
I feel
so
like
it's all the best stuff's in the first half of them.
I feel like
really?
emotionally it got a little deeper further in. Or maybe I told Jim.
For sure. Because they're not going to lead with that, right?
Yeah.
Not as sexy and exciting.
Yeah, it wasn't as sexy maybe, but I told Jim I watched the first 2 with my mom, and then I watched the rest by myself. And I just like, you're more in your head when you're by yourself a little bit. So I felt a little more emotional the other ones. What I was going to ask you to open this thing up is, you are a golf fan. I've played golf my entire life, pretty casually, but I was on the high school team and little stuff. And before the gym, we played every Saturday. Like, we were avid-ish, Played with my dad growing up, and my dad watched it a lot, but I never watched it. I assume you follow and watch decent amount.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah. Does that take away from this for you? Because you kind of probably already knew some of the storylines. Obviously, they're in-depth because the interviews and shit like that are more behind the scenes than you'll see on ESPN. But does that take away from it because you're like, oh, I already kind of know that guy, I don't like him or whatever? Or does it add to it for you?
I think it adds to it. It's more like I think it works for both sides of the coin, right? People that aren't paying as close attention like get this like, oh wow, like that's crazy storyline. Or for me, I'm like, oh man, I remember that. Oh, that's crazy. Like, this was his thought process like during that time.
Yeah.
I don't think it really has any kind of drop off for anybody on either side of that. I honestly wanted more of the behind the scenes stuff and like less of the storyline because I knew it, but that's just me. That's just me on one side of that, right? It's not like I understand the way it was done. Is for like to get people that don't know about the sport into the sport, right? It's kind of like the whole Formula One kind of thing.
Yeah, they do that so well because I've always liked golf, enjoyed playing, and like loosely following, but I never turn on TV. But what I've found after watching about 6 of these things is that I need somewhere in between the speed of these documentaries and the speed of live golf. If they 50'd that, then I'd watch it on TV all the time. You know what I mean? We're like on TV, they'll fucking drone shot them walking for like even 20 seconds. I'm like, I can't handle that. And then this one's too fast. Like, they don't show any walking. It's just hit, putt.
Yeah.
Like, if they're somewhere in between, I'd probably watch it a lot on ESPN.
It's because they're broadcasting them live in general.
Yeah, probably. And,
so there's all that
terms
dead
live.
time just built in.
and because not every match is as exciting as this. Like, they chose these. Like every episode, they're putting for a win. That doesn't
they
happen
chose
on
like
every
some big
yeah.
tournaments.
That doesn't happen at every tournament.
A lot of them race around like the majors, like PGA Championship, Augusta, stuff like that, U.S. Open. The something that they're actually doing now in live golf on TV is they're remember when they would do those matches? They still do them, but with like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, those matches, and those are getting really popular. And they have like the ear pods in or whatever, and they're talking to them as they're driving up. Or now they're doing that at live PGA events.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's like that downtime you're talking about when they're walking. Now they're doing more interviews with players, and they're following them with those new, like 4K cameras where like everything's like super like hype. You see like in NBA games, now,
or
like
UFC.
Those really close up shot. Like they're doing that now on the floor, on the course, like in between shots with players now.
No way. Do the players hate that, you think?
Probably.
Yeah,
because they're trying to like get zoned in.
Like basketball.
Like Tiger would not do that.
Yeah, basketball, they do it in between quarters, which is like a mini break. But like in between a shot, like fuck that.
Yeah, usually like that. I think they're usually doing it. I feel like it feels like mostly either right off the tee or like going to the green.
Yeah,
like
but
not in
still,
between like. And they're also not hitting many shots outside of those, like a lot. Even on par fives, these pros are mostly like hitting into greens, or trying to.
Yeah.
It's very rare on tour you're seeing like, them guys taking like 2 shots to get on the green, like far long shots into a green on a par 5 even. But it's adding that little extra though.
Yeah.
It's adding that little more excitement, a little bit of like personality. Now you're getting to see these people's personality. There's some guys like in this documentary that like I've been waiting to see personality types on. I'm like, oh, I used to not really like him. I didn't really like, like he was kind of boring to me. And then I'm like, oh, Scotty Scheffler, for example.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's
He
like
seems-
always so boring
he
on
seems kinda cool.
at these events, and then you see him like on this documentary. It's like, oh, okay, PGA's fucking up, not showing us more of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
'Cause now I'm more excited to see him win because he's just winning all the time right now. But it's
Yeah.
like he was kind of like, I always thought he was kind of boring, but like you see these shots where he's laughing, making jokes, and
Yeah.
you're like in between. You're like, oh, okay.
They, I assume they filmed an insane amount for this documentary and then chose the storylines after, because you obviously can't predict that.
How somebody's going to do, whether they're going to make a cut or
Right.
whatever.
So they probably filmed like 50 plus guys.
I think that they said they recorded 600 hours of just new footage, not talking about the archive stuff that they pulled out.
Jeez.
Because you don't know who's going to win where, and then
Yeah.
the storyline builds after. So obviously that makes it easier to win here, but even each person, because each episode of these documentaries kind of goes around one, if not two people.
Yeah, 1 or 2 people. Yeah.
Each one, whether you like them or not, they're kind of cool.
Mhm.
Like each person, you're like, all right, that guy's kind of cool. Like I didn't love Brooks when they started digging into him.
Yeah, because he's just an asshole.
And they made the whole thing kind of that way. One thing before we will dig into like topics that was funny is all these people. Maybe it's a 2023 thing, and a big, obviously Netflix probably had hella cameras and shit. But when you're sitting there, everyone talks really well, and they're well represented. And whether they have PR training or not, they kind of handle themselves well. I think it's Brooks' wife. Oh no, is it Johnson? Dustin
Johnson.
I think it's Dustin Johnson's wife.
Yeah, that's Wayne Gretzky's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So that's definitely who it is. They're saying something about, he was like, yeah, and they're like, obviously they switched the story mode to fit everything going on. Like he's the confident one, he's the alpha male guy, and he doesn't look like these other things. And there's a line she says in one of them. I don't know if you got to this yet, Jim.
Probably didn't.
Where he's like, yeah, like I just want to, and he's actually really cool. Like he actually seems.
Dustin Johnson's cool.
No, he seems actually confident, not cocky, not a shit talker. But they interviewed her, and she said, yeah, and he's gonna go show him what the fuck he's about.
Yeah. Yeah, she's down.
And I was just like, oh,
Yeah, she's down.
Has she lost any teeth to pucks?
bro, she's so in it.
She's just as into it as him. She's like a ride. She's one of those like ride or die types.
Yeah, but that's to me, that's such like a hockey wife rather than like a golf
Yeah,
wife. Like,
exactly.
she's gonna show him what the fuck he's about every time, and I was like,
Yeah.
where all the other wives are like, I hope he does well.
Yeah.
And I really think he's worked hard, and I'm gonna love him no matter what. And she's like fucking. It reminded me of
She's feisty.
Will Ferrell's wife in fucking Talladega Nights.
Yeah, exactly.
Just wiling out.
That's accurate. That's
It was
pretty
so
accurate.
funny, dude.
Yeah, that was funny.
So since we're on the subject of wives and girlfriends, did you get the sense that they were trying to telegraph with Brooks that the girlfriend, the fiance, was having a negative impact on his play?
I think they dabbled a line.
Yeah, it was weird. I remember that one part. I couldn't help but laugh when he was like, my wife will just be talking to me or whatever, and I'm like not even listening to her. I'm just thinking about my swing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like half playing with his dog.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, she'll be talking to me. I'm just like, don't really listen to her. I'm just kind of just thinking about my swing.
She's showing him like clothes for the honeymoon or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly
Yeah.
what that was. That was very much of a reality show setup. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, in this scene, you're going to do this while he does this, and then we're going to, shade it toward where his mindset is or whatever. But at the same time, it really felt like she was a distraction in not a positive way.
Yeah, it was.
And
hard
that's
to
what they were
say.
trying to communicate. And I
Yeah,
don't know if that's true or if they were just trying to create drama or what. But
Yeah, it could be fabricated, right? Because he just happened to not be playing well right then.
Yeah.
and she's a hot wife that they can
He's
build a narrative around.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was playing, the best golf anybody possibly can for like a 2-3 year stretch there, and then he just kind of just like plummeted.
Yeah.
But he was having a lot of like, hip, like you even mentioned in the thing. He has a lot of injuries that are kind of lingering around, knee, back stuff, and once that happens in your golf game, man, like that's it. Like I mean, like until you get better, but like you can't do anything mechanically sound when it's such a mechanical sport with any kind of like lingering knee or fucking hip
Yeah,
injury.
look
Like it's
at
everything. That's
Tiger.
the whole sport.
Yeah.
Look at
Yeah,
Tiger.
yeah.
He was felled really by back and knee injuries before he ever cracked his car up and had to get rebuilt like the $6 million man.
Yeah.
Doing anything with like flow and golf, like a golf swing's literally the definition of that, is so hard whether you hurt or you think you're going to hurt.
Well, it's a fraction of error in golf.
Right.
Of a shot going inbounds and out of bounds is, is a quarter of an inch.
So if
not even less than a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, if my brain,
eighth of an inch.
if my brain thinks about my hip hurting last time I did this, whether it hurts now or not, you're gonna kind of move weird to avoid it. And
you can't do that.
Yeah, no, then you're ending up in the water.
That's it. That's it.
You're in the water.
Yeah, the fact that these guys can even go as long as they do, as many swings as they take, like it's so hard on your body. It's one of those things that kind of gets pushed under the rug with, it's an old man's sport, or it's like this like unathletic thing, and it's like it's actually so fucking gnarly on your body.
Yeah.
It's like one of the most unhealthiest things. You're taking this, fucking 130, 40 gram club, which is like fairly heavy.
Yeah.
Like, maybe more than that because the head is that's like a shaft like length or weight, but like you're taking this heavy metal thing, you're swinging it, 100 miles per hour.
Yeah. Why is it that we, lack of a better term, baby pitchers in baseball? Like, that's hard on the elbow and that's hard on the shoulder. But then when you're doing the exact same thing in golf, people are like the old man sport.
Yeah, no.
But it is the exact same motion.
It's the same motion, and
Yeah.
it's just as hard on your body. You
Yeah.
only have a certain amount of swings. Like,
Yeah.
and the older you get, it only gets harder to make those swings and get in those positions. So it's like,
And
It's
money wise, like you have to golf. You have to
Yes.
golf if you're not the guy, you got to golf every weekend.
yeah, that's not unless you're a live player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, but like before, 2020,
Yeah.
2021,
You got to golf.
like you have to play. Not even just golf, you have to make it to the weekend.
Right. Well, and then you
You
have
can
to
play 2 days, Thursday and Friday, and not make the cut. You get $0.
when you're getting swings in Monday through Thursday.
And you spend a fortune
Yeah, we
Yeah.
learned about that.
Yeah.
getting there.
Yeah.
Why do they all fly private jets? Not all of them could be that rich.
Well, usually like they probably rent them.
Yeah.
A couple of the guys might own one.
No, I don't think they own them. But even chartering one, I think it's like $50K. And obviously a couple of the buddies shared them, but then
Yeah.
that's like $15K a
But
head.
the guys we were following though
Yeah, are the
were the
tops.
guys that are making,
Yeah.
100 mil a year.
Yeah.
And with their endorsements.
That's what I was talking about.
and they're making, $20-30 million on tour a year, a minimum.
Yeah, that's what I figured, that their sponsorships are probably double what they're making on the course.
Yeah, and who knows who even like owns those. Like maybe they all have the same something that connects that actually owns the plane and they
Yeah,
just get
yeah.
to use it. I doubt they're probably even spending any money on the planes.
Yeah, that
Some
is
of
true.
some of the groups.
But who
obviously.
knows? Every time I see a professional golfer on a plane, though, I have to think of Payne Stewart.
What happened with that?
There was some kind of atmospheric breach on the plane, and everyone died. But it was autopilot was still engaged, and so it basically just ran until it ran out of fluid, and then or gas, and then it fell.
Fuck.
Yeah, and it was. I think he owned the plane. That was it was a big deal at the
Goddamn.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, never heard that. All right, all right? So Brooks, are we all on the same page? I know Jim didn't watch all of them, so
I haven't watched all of them.
But
no.
you can do it with the ones you heard. Brooks is our least favorite so far.
Oh, for
Personality,
sure.
he kind of sucks.
Yeah, he
right?
does, and everybody was. He pretends like he doesn't care, but he probably cares like the most.
Right.
But he's like, oh, I don't care. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to do this and this and this. Where it's like, I loved how Dustin Johnson, when they're like, why did you go to LIV? Like near the end of the documentary, like, why did you make these choices? He's like, pretty simple.
Yeah.
Play less golf, make more money,
Yeah.
spend more time with my family.
So would you like to do less work for more money? You would too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is that simple.
Exactly. It really is that simple.
What? All right, then who's your favorite? I got a clear cut one, but my two's a little up in the air.
Like my favorite golfer right now though is probably like JT.
Because of the documentary though, or just because?
Even before the documentary.
All right, that's fair.
But from the documentary, like,
because you get to know the personalities of like some smaller guys too.
yeah. I mean, still JT though.
He's
I love
cool.
JT. He's sick. He's like a kind of a normal guy. I remember his car got declined. He was trying
Yeah.
to buy like
Yeah. He's like, that was great.
some
CVS like mucus support or something.
yeah, his allergies were so bad. Stuff like that though was cool to see. Like, oh man, like this dude's got to go to CVS like before his tee
Yeah.
time because his allergies are killing him in this new state that he's
Yeah.
in the middle of this open field.
Yeah, golfers in particular, right? Because
Now he's got to go win.
a lot of the ones you covered, like Brooks, kind of looks like a specimen, but not really, even in the scope of things. Like obviously they're
For
all
golf,
specimen. Yeah, but if you see him on the street and
Yeah.
you don't follow golf, you won't think anything.
No.
And especially JT and his buddy, you're like,
Yeah. Jordan Spieth.
yeah,
Jordan,
Speed. Yeah, you're like, nah, those look
No.
like some guys.
Yeah,
But,
they
I
are.
mean, they're in shape. They're not like
I don't know.
they're not Phil Mickelson with his breasts.
They're definitely
not,
they're definitely not they're not like they're doing you see the stuff that they're doing a lot of like CrossFit without the weights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of like agility and like
conditioning and shit.
You know, and what's the word? Mobility style.
Who's
training.
the guy? Who's the guy that got in trouble for
Maybe
the
some stamina.
at the waste management taking his shirt off?
Oh, Joel.
Joel. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joel. He was in like the 5th episode. Was mostly about Joel. You learn a lot about Joel. You're like, man, this guy's dealing with like some demons.
Yeah.
And his whole story was like probably one of the most interesting and revolutionary stories.
He's the
Is that the right word?
self-deprecating one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the one that's
he's
like
he's
he's afraid to admit that he's good.
Yeah, he's my clear-cut favorite.
Yeah, he's great.
Clear
I'm
cut.
about
Joel.
halfway into that one, but I just started actually watching that one because you had mentioned that
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
the relationship with his caddy, who's his best friend.
Yeah.
That's
It's
the
like,
deepest one.
How good is that with his friend?
Isn't it his brother?
Oh, I thought it was just his best friend. It might be
Yeah,
his
it's his best
brother.
friend.
Yeah.
Like, but his brother also plays golf.
Oh, yeah, and I think his brother's like his coach or just follows him with him and shit.
Yeah, her brother's like on a smaller, maybe he's
Yeah.
on Corn Ferry Tour
Yeah.
or something.
But
Something like that.
He was clear cut my favorite. Just like
yeah, Joel's is good.
because he does have demons and he is self-deprecating, but then like even as his wife said, he's like, no, he's just having fun. Like he makes sure everyone around him's having fun.
Yeah,
You know, and I love that.
yeah.
And he's fucking good.
So I saw him on a YouTube channel. Might have been like Good, one of those guys, and they played with Joel,
yeah.
and it was so funny because he was like, yeah, this is like one of my favorite clothes in my bag. It was like a hybrid. 4 hybrid that he's like, yeah, I got it on eBay for like $60 off some guy.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's like, dude, this is like, that's how he is. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's his favorite club in his bag. And it's like 5 years old, you know, like
Yeah.
3 wood that he got, or
But it
4
feels
wood,
good,
or
fuck it.
4 hybrid he got on eBay.
He's I'm sure he has decent amount of money, but he was another one that you see his house and then you compare it to Brooks, you're like,
Yeah.
they're in different leagues.
Yeah. Yeah. Brooks' house was like fucking such an arrogant, like
Yeah.
Florida house
Yeah.
with on the water with like the sunken,
Yeah.
like lounge area
By
with the
the
infinity
pool?
pool above it.
Why
Like, that shit was sick though.
What's up in Jupiter, Florida?
Go good golf and like all those
I
guys.
know
They all
Florida.
they all train at the same place. It's like a
yeah.
little.
Yeah.
It's like a little hub.
Because I know like 10 miles south of that is Billionaires Row, and that's where everybody is.
Think about like most athletes live in Florida, right? Like,
Yeah, but
or
I
have
never
a
heard of
house in Florida.
Jupiter in
Yeah, that's true.
particular.
I think Jupiter is more central to like the golf.
Yeah, it's just above Palm Beach, and that's where obviously really nice golf and rich folk live too. Boca Raton, all that kind of
It's
area.
where all the money's at.
Yeah.
And it's where, you know, they have all their whole little network there. It's
Yeah,
like
and
a
I'm-
plug and play. Like, oh yeah, go around. Yeah, once you make, you know, X amount,
Yeah.
you're kind of like in the Jupiter crowd now.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Maybe
Tiger
I'm-
got a place there.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the last time I heard about anything about Jupiter, Florida was Burt Reynolds had a restaurant in Jupiter,
maybe.
Florida, and I think maybe he lived there.
It seems like there's a lot of money, and
That's
I know
more reason to go.
Yeah, I know Palm Beach has a shit ton of money, and that's right next door. So it seems like a decent area. But I just thought it was so weird that all of them live
Everything was in Jupiter. You
Yeah.
kept saying Jupiter.
there. Not
and-
Miami, not Orlando, because
Yeah.
Orlando's a big golf town too. Vegas,
Where's like LeBron have his place in
Miami.
Florida?
I'd imagine Miami,
Probably.
just because of the heat. But I don't know.
I'm guessing the Jupiter weather's probably solid, like 300 years, or 300 days a year.
Yeah, I looked it up on just Zillow or whatever, and Florida's crazy. Like, there's more water on that map than there is green.
Yeah.
Like, where are the houses? Because there's so many like lakes and ponds and
Yeah.
just so much shit. I'm like, dude, Florida's crazy. You might as well live in the ocean.
Yeah, because everything's like a cove or a
Yeah.
like a runway or
Yeah,
a
or
street.
swamp or
Yeah,
whatever.
something.
The Everglades or whatever the fuck alligator shit.
The Everglades.
I don't know. It was crazy though. But yeah, Joel.
Yeah, Joel's was a good
That's
story.
my guy, dude.
I can't honestly.
When he's
like,
crying, he's reading his caddy's note and he starts crying.
yeah.
Like it's just so good.
got
I didn't
real.
get that far.
Yeah,
I
it's
ne-
so
I ne-
good.
I
It's-
need that in my life.
Yeah, it's so
that
good.
one's good. That
It-
one's good. It's a really good one.
The younger Indian kid.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I think that's
remember.
6.
I remember that tournament well, where he kind of choked it down. And the Spain. They followed the Spanish guys.
Yeah.
On tour on the last, I think 1
yeah,
or
yeah.
2.
Those are pretty good too.
Yeah.
The 2 buddies from Colombia, Chile,
Chile, I believe.
Yeah, that's a good story too.
Shout out Pedro Pascual.
Yeah,
Last of Us.
they're probably my top 5 favorites now.
Yeah.
They just seem fun loving too.
Well, 2 of them went to LIV, and the one that was kind of the main character.
The
He's
older
still on. The older one. He's still on PGA.
Interesting. So Liv's now fast forward because I assumed a lot of this was filmed in 20 to 22.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of it was 21, 22.
Yeah.
And
And then
Dean,
the LIV thing happened.
you're
Yeah.
obviously more up on golf in general. Is the Live thing fucking what they thought it'd be? Is it crushing right now, or it's doing okay?
I think the problem with LIV is just now they're signed with the CW.
Like the network?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they also do like CW apparently is really getting into the sports thing now,
Yeah.
and they have like the Formula One stuff on there now, I think too. And they're trying to get in the niche sport market. But this tournament this weekend, the LIV tournament, was the first tournament of the year. It still wasn't being broadcasted on TV. You still had to go to the CW app. You had to, watch it on your phone or watch it or hook up your fucking Xbox to your TV to put it on. Like that's not gonna do it.
That's gonna be hard.
You're not gonna get new eyes on the sport that way.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult.
And they just have so much fucking money invested in these guys. Like I just don't ever see how they could possibly make any return.
Yeah.
Because the amount of money that they have invested and what it would take to make that money, like the PGA doesn't even come close to generating that kind of money. So it's like, how are they going to profit? It's like the WNBA. It's like it'll probably never profit, but for some reason it's still going.
Who do we know who exactly is owning that thing or spending it?
Who's like it's all just like I think it's Saudi Arabian like
whatever,
hedge funds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
like,
I've heard, and I'm highly uneducated on this, but I've heard 50% facts that some of them are just such fans of sport that they're just spending money in it for funsies.
that could be very, very
kind of
very
like billionaires will buy like a basketball team. Like it's hard to make money in even the NBA, as an owner. Like over 20 years your value will go up, but a lot of guys do it because they love the sport so much. I've heard that over there because they have like the most insane bodybuilding gyms. They have the most insane this and that. CrossFit competitions now they have over there.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of it's just like fandom that they want to bring it to their world.
So I agree. And
because it might not make money ever.
I don't know if it will, like, because there's just so much overhead. It's insane with just the players alone.
Right. And if
Not
you're not
even talking
getting
about
views, if you're not on TV, it's harder to sell a Rolex sponsorship.
Exactly. That's it'll never make money until obviously it's on TV, getting ads, and all that other stuff that comes with that. But like as far as attendance goes, like there's one in Phoenix in a couple weeks or whatever. They sold out 60K tickets overnight
For LIV?
For LIV.
Interesting.
And like that's like capacity.
So it's
right?
not just over there. Obviously, they're moving it here. Or
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
There's a couple tournaments here now. Like I think they've almost doubled the amount of tournaments that there was last year, which was the inaugural year. Last year. Now this year, it's kind of funny because they have like teams.
Yeah.
And there was like some trades that happened, and they're like documenting like the trade stuff and the players talking about it, and it's like very different.
That could be fun, right?
It is fun. It is cool.
It could be a good flavor to the sport that is so kind of stoic and individual.
But all this content's on this fucking shitty CW app.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like no one's seeing it.
Yeah, back to that in a second. I was just looking up who owns LIV, and it's the Public Investment Fund, which is the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia.
There you go.
So like the government? The hell is that?
Yes, the government. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and LIV.
That's why there's so much controversy with it, because of their ethics and their morals.
So LIV is actually LIV. It's 54 in Roman numerals. So 54 is the score if every hole on a par 72 is birdied.
Got it.
Look at my balls.
Which is the number of holes to be played at LIV events.
That's what makes it different from PGA is that LIV is not 72 holes.
Yeah.
Like PGA, you go Thursday through Sunday, where LIV it's now only Friday through Sunday. So more compact. They're trying to make it like more
matters more each stroke.
Yeah, and also they claim that they put the pins in like way tougher spots on the greens. So it's like you might not see these super low numbers, but you're going to be seeing a lot harder stuff, which I don't know if that's really better for the sport. I think more people are going to want to see hole in ones and people people pin hunting and like getting it close where it's like okay,
but they're both PGA and LIV may be on similar courses then or share courses.
I don't know which ones that they do share at all. I know that the one this past weekend used to be on the PGA. It's no longer,
but it's semi-familiar.
I would assume that the PGA probably has like non-competes. I'm sure there's non-competes with these courses. I'm almost guaranteed that.
I do I've never watched Golf Live. I've been to the celebrity tournament, which is like kind of real, like some of those guys are serious.
Those guys out there.
But I do want to go to the Waste Management now.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that's
Arizona.
I heard somebody talking
Phoenix.
about. I heard somebody talking about that on a different podcast. Just like how insane that tournament is.
Yeah, that's like and I think
it's like the NASCAR
for sure.
Yeah,
it's like the Daytona 500.
Yeah,
I think that they did a really good job of showing people what that is this year for like the first time. Because last year it was like we got a lot of hype last year because that's when everybody started throwing all the beer cans onto the 16th, 17th par 3 hole, the stadium hole, and
ripping off their shirts.
Yeah, people going crazy. Like last year, like really kind of blew up, but then this year they really took what happened last year and hyped it up for the coming.
It's literally Happy Gilmore,
and they're letting them do it, which is good. Thank God.
I think so too.
If they don't, no one's gonna. It's gonna lose its steam.
Yeah,
and the PGA needs all the press it can get.
Yeah,
right?
if you want a slightly different crowd, you got to add some wrinkles. You got to evolve a little bit.
You have to evolve.
You don't have to take away tradition fully, but you got to evolve a little bit. And I do think that's a good mix. If it's just like, if you say, all right, just this one tournament, you can drop an F-bomb. Everywhere else.
That's what made the documentary good, though, too. Listening to these guys fucking
so good.
Get all pissed off and cuss. It's
every single one's trying to break a club in some scene.
Yeah.
And you don't see that on, even ESPN will cut away a lot or something, you don't see that side of the sport.
So what you're getting at with the streaming thing is a thing that's facing all of sports right now, because the way we've been, delivered sports since the cable era, because before that it was all just antenna TV, and you had maybe 3 or 4 channels if you were lucky.
Yep.
And it was, whichever sports you watched were whichever ones that the networks decided to cover.
Or, local only.
Yeah. And then we went through the period where regional sports networks developed, and that pumped a lot of money into some sports. The regional sports networks were part of a cable bundle. Right, so you don't have a choice about whether you're getting it. We're not talking about ESPN. We're not talking about like a regional thing, and so
Sports Bay Area.
Yeah. And so there is a payment associated, like a per household that is contracted per month or per season or per whatever. So you have an idea of how much money you have coming in relative to contract. And you have a reasonable idea of how many people might be watching, and so you can set your ad rates based on that or whatever. Everybody, a couple of years ago decided that streaming was going to be the thing going forward, and like linear cable networks were eventually just going to die, and network TV was going to completely die, and that in and of itself, and the regional sports networks are getting absorbed into other things because they don't make the kind of money anymore.
Yeah, or even before that, I feel like during the cable era, NFL started to do their own shit, like Red Zone, and Season Pass, and they started to just monetize on their own.
And the MLB ticket.
Yeah.
$200 for the year. You can get watch your Yankee games in California.
Like through a cable provider.
Right, but the audience for that is considerably smaller than you think about everybody who has cable TV anywhere in the United States.
For sure.
And they're, the cable companies are paying a carriage fee to the regional sports networks or the teams or the major league associations or whatever.
Or the deals with like TNT to the NBA.
Yeah.
Fox or Amazon stepped into the ring with the NFL.
Yeah, Apple's been doing a certain number of
Prime
Major League Baseball
games.
Yeah. I know I forgot the number, but I knew at one point the Amazon contract for Thursday Night Football was insane.
I mean, fucking Thursday Night Football is such trash football.
It wasn't a thing 3 years ago. I feel like
it's so bad now, though, dude.
There's
like
2 Thursday Night Football, or Thursday was Thanksgiving, and then like one other, and now it's every Thursday.
And the games are so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Like there was maybe one good Thursday night game this year. Like these people don't want to be there.
Yeah.
No one wants to play on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And it shows in the product. Like everybody's just kind of playing it like 75%.
Or like the European games they'll try to force here and there.
Oh my god.
There is a mess with all
whole
of it.
thing. The fact that the players haven't like unionized against these like fucking London games is
if
like,
you're the Rams and you got to go to London, it's a fucking 18-hour flight. The other thing too is like
they're probably partying up there and having fun, maybe.
Yeah, but even still, it's still annoying. I
would not want to.
If you have a family and shit, even setting the schedule, NFL is a little different because it's a pretty short season. But like baseball and basketball, like setting the major network schedule before the season and like not adjusting it seems so like ancient.
It's
to
like
me.
what's happened to the Kings,
right? Well, like we just got one.
Well, yeah, it's like one national game.
Yeah,
but they had to move it around.
Yeah, because they set the whole schedule. Like especially the NBA, where you don't know what's going to happen because of trades, and you don't know what's going to happen because rookies can make a huge impact or not.
And teams can go off like we are, or whatever.
So like, why don't you just schedule till December or the All-Star break? And then
figure it out from there.
Yeah, TNT knows they're having a game at 6:00 on a Tuesday. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, did I just see that the Kings have the best offensive efficiency
rating
ever?
Yeah.
At this point in the season,
which is pretty wild. But yeah, they just got like a
second highest scoring game in NBA history.
Yeah. That was. I saw the end of that. That was nuts.
Yeah, I was just watching on Twitter highlights.
Monk went off the next day.
Yeah, so did De'Aaron. De'Aaron
Yeah.
had 4 the next day too.
Also, didn't make the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his stat line is just like off
Yeah.
the charts.
Yeah, and we're like,
Fox.
we're at one point we were power
So
ranked
funny,
in the
dude.
NBA top 5, not even in the West Coast for a second. So
That
like,
game against OKC last night was like a huge game.
yeah, he went
to
for like
define
38
us.
also.
Yeah, just to define like the Kings, like okay, like another, like they keep saying that, but it's like
Right. The
let's
Clippers.
see what they do in OKC against at OKC, you know, and it's like we fucking kick their fucking ass.
Yeah, the Clippers was a big one too.
Yeah.
Obviously they just got the trade and they're fucking stacked. It
Which
is a
like
fun
I'm fucking
season.
so done with that shit, dude.
Yeah, it is
so
a fun
done.
season. It's just really is. Even the being a small market thing seems like with the internet and shit, like it just doesn't make sense anymore.
No.
Like I
Luckily we get all these games, but
yeah, but and I understand like fan bases are bigger because there's more people in LA. Fan bases are bigger because there's more people in New York.
And there are more people in the eastern part of the United States than there are in the west by
Yeah,
far.
trillion. Yeah, we're so spread. And obviously, yeah, the Warriors are an older team than the Kings. Like in the scope, Kings are a new team ish. So I understand some of that, but like winning should just kind of.
I think
Trump
it's
all.
funny. We're off of golf for a second, but I think it's funny how, like in the early 2000s, the Kings were very much in the zeitgeist. Like, I mean, they would show up in rap songs and conversations. Just people will call out a particular
Slam magazine.
Yeah, it's just like all over the
But
place.
they just
And
got one though, right? Didn't De'Aaron? I think De'Aaron just got on there again.
Did he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think De'Aaron and Sabonis.
What is it, like a digital only magazine
Probably,
now? Do
probably.
they even print it anymore?
Yeah, probably not. But
It's just an Instagram page now.
yeah, but De'Aaron and Sabonis were on there. Yeah, just like Jay Will and Vlade and,
That's
and
tight.
C-Web. Yeah, it is cool. Like the energy here is different. We have a member at the gym whose husband works for the Kings. I don't want to. What do they call it? Dox anybody.
Yeah.
So we won't say names or position, but
Yeah.
she's pretty involved with the Kings. She goes like every game and stuff. So I always catch up and talk to her about it. And she's like, and they were here during that era too. He had the
Yeah.
same position with the Kings in 01 or something. She's like, the energy's crazy.
That's
like,
pretty crazy job security right there.
really good.
Must
Yeah.
be do good. Must be doing something.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And so, but she said the energy there is nuts. Games sold out. People going crazy.
Oh, people are going nuts.
I
there,
do
dude.
think the rap song or just the cultural impact is there again. Like 50 Cent's whiskey company like partnered with us, so like 50's been at a
But
bunch
you know
of
what's
games.
funny though, dude? I was going to games in the dark era, right, where we just were sucking ass, and like 50 was always there. 50 was there all the fucking time.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's up with him and Sack?
I don't know. And Shaq, right? Shaq owned part of the Kings. He just
Yeah,
sold it, but
yeah.
like there is some weird
yeah.
connection.
I've probably
where,
been to 6 games where 50 Cent was there.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is 50 always here?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's something.
He's trying to meet you. You just keep
Apparently, I'm like, I just didn't make, even at Arco.
you
Yeah.
keep ditching him.
You would be at Arco.
Yeah, people do want. I think there's something special here now that downtown's starting to like grow and thrive again.
Maybe he was
We
a
got
cousin. Maybe he
apartments.
was friends with cousin. I fucking know.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, there was something there. I
Because
don't
we
know.
had a couple players, not teams that did well, but players that had like culture impact, like little Isaiah Thomas,
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins, because the Kentucky stuff. Like we had players in that stretch of darkness, the medieval times of us, where things were good, or like at least they had cultural impact.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of his name the other day. Who was the tall guy we had? Really tall and skinny dude, like covered in tats. Played at Kentucky also. Kind of had like shorter.
Cauley Stein.
Cauley Stein. What's up with him? Where's he at?
He's sitting the bench somewhere.
Is he still in the league though?
Yeah, he was in the league.
Willie.
Last I checked. Yeah, Willie.
Willie.
Yeah.
I have a funny story about Willie. Apparently, my buddy like saw him at a restaurant and was like super stoked to meet him, and like he's like, "Hey man, can I get a picture?" And apparently Willie just goes, "Nah," and then just walk by him. I'm like, "Oh man,
Nah. I'm like, bro,
Nah.
you're not that popular. Like, soak this up.
this was yeah."
Yeah, you'd rather sit the bench.
He was like all excited to see him, like, "Oh man, big fan, watch every game,
Yeah.
And he's like, "Nah."
Nah. I
That sucks.
I noticed that there was a Kings Instagram post over the weekend that Barry Bonds liked. Like it was
Barry was just here.
he's been here recently, but he was also just at a Warriors game, I think.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, wherever he's from,
Man,
they
the
don't
people
have a
really
team.
switched up on the Warriors quick.
True.
And that's all sports though.
That's
There's
true.
no shade.
Yeah, there's probably some.
But all
sack.
my SAC homies that were like live downtown were like, "Oh, I'm from the Bay though."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I was
So
gonna
like
say.
I rep. I still rep
Yeah.
Golden State. I'm from the Bay though.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, you lived there when you were like 3 years old. And you've been in Saxon for the rest of the
Yeah,
time.
there
But
was
went to the
okay,
some-
zoo
for sure.
one time.
There was
For
a good amount
sure.
of Curry jerseys running.
And now
around
I
Sac
see them
for a
on their
bit.
fucking snaps and that
Yeah,
they're
they're beaming. They're beaming now.
beaming now.
Yeah,
they're,
now
they're,
they're
they're out
beaming.
front of the stadium, light the beam. I'm
Yeah.
like, all right.
I went to so many
I got
games
receipts.
at Arco for some reason. I've only been to like 2 at our new stadium, but yeah, growing up, Arco was like.
When me and Kelsey were living in what's it called, East Sac, we were going to a lot of games.
Yeah.
Because and also we didn't have kids.
Yeah.
You know, that makes a whole other layer on top of it. When it was just us two, and we were living out in River Park or whatever, like we were going to games all the time. But it was also cheap to go.
Yeah, but now they're going to be
at the newsstand. But Arco's where I probably did most of my stomping.
I did so many.
But I've been to here probably 10, 15 times.
5 years from now, you'll be going with the kids though, because then they'll understand.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they just need a little bit of growing to do, and then it'll be fun. Because that's when I started going a shit ton. Probably 7. What's your little one? 5, 4?
No, he's 3. He'll be 4 this year though.
Yeah, 4.
But
because I went probably 7, 8, 9. You can start to.
Did I ever tell you guys my story about? I know we're like totally off now.
Hit it.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I was at. I think I've told you this story. It's worth talking about again, I guess. So we're at a Kings Lakers playoff game. I think it's like I don't remember what game it was. It was probably game 3 or 4.
Like back in the day, like back 03 or whatever.
Yeah, this was like hype time.
Yeah,
and it's my dad bought us really good seats. We were behind the basket, probably like 7 rows up. And my dad used to be the VP for like SoCal Water or whatever. So like the company had tickets. Yeah, he was connected. He could get stuff like that. So he took me and my 2 buddies that lived in our on our street, my buddy Robbie, my buddy Lyle. And we're fucking there. We're having a blast. You know, the game's tense, obviously, right? Yeah. And long story short, I think somebody gets fouled. I don't remember who it was. It might have been Kobe on the line. And this like kid in front of us, one row in front of us, was with his dad, and he was a Laker fan. Yeah. You know, and back then, dude, like in Sac, it's 50-50. There's tons of Laker fans at that time. Also, like it was like going to a home game for Laker.
Even
people.
Nationwide, right?
Even nationwide, the Lakers was like
they're deep.
They were deep. There was a lot of tension in the crowd. Is what I'm getting at, and so blah blah blah. Kobe misses one free throw, then the other one, or makes one, misses one, and it goes off, it gets kicked out, and they drain like a big 3. And the kid stands up, starts cheering, like, yes, yes. It's like stoked, and like the game's like coming down the wire, 4th quarter shit, right? Yeah. It was like a big shot. And this guy turns around, some Kings fan guy, red-faced guy, you can tell he was hammered, just goes, hey, sit down and shut the fuck up. This like 6-year-old kid.
Oh my God.
I was like, me and my buddies were just like, what just happened? Because it got kind of quiet in there. And this guy just turns around to this like 6-year-old and goes, sit down and shut the fuck up. And then the kid's dad grabs the guy.
Oh no!
By the fucking by the traps and shakes him. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? This kid's 6 years old.
Yeah,
and then
that is a little out of pocket.
Comes running
it's
down.
A little out of pocket.
I'll never forget that though, dude. The guy's face was so red. I can see it in my brain still. It's tattooed in my brain. Trauma.
What if the kid's under 10 and you hear the voice? You know he's under 10.
Oh, dude.
You know, it's not like you fucked up and he's 16 and you thought he was 18. Like you knew he was a fucking child.
And everybody was standing too. Everybody was already standing. I think it was like a standing tense moment, and the guy just turns around and sit down and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I probably would have socked him.
I was like,
pops.
whoa, the guy's dad, like, it was about to elevate. Luckily they came in like just in time to break it all up, kick the guy out. I think.
Well, because it was that same series. It was like WWE. Like Doug Christie's running into the hallway trying to fight fucking Kobe and Fox. Crazy. Like the rivalry. I mean, that's kind of what we don't have right now. Even if the Warriors were playing a little better,
people aren't on the same team enough to fucking build any rivalries.
That's kind of true too. And one portion I like it because a lot of them I feel like treat the sport very professionally, where they're all kind of homies, which is cool in one sense. Mm-hmm. But then I kind of want some shit talking too. You only have like 2 players that don't like each other, right? There's like, Kyrie and Harden, and then there's like very few people that dislike each other. Where back in the day, probably because of the internet, they didn't talk as much. Yeah. So all you remember is that elbow he gave you. You don't remember that meme he sent you or whatever, or you're getting traded so often. Yeah. It is a little different vibe.
There's that whole Bryson, back to the golf thing, that whole Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka like beef. Yeah. That kind of started with Brooks just being an asshole, talking about how like Brooks was doing an interview, and then Bryson was like walking behind him with like his metal spikes on, and he's just like, guys, like he just like stopped the interview and he's just like, I fucking hate that guy, or something like that. And like during the interview, and then he was just like, sorry, I'm distracted. I don't even know like what we were talking about.
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's like the fucking cleats, man. This guy and his fucking cleats. And then there's that whole started this whole internet beef with them, and now they're both in LIV, and now they're kind of playing up. They're marketing that,
which they should.
But they're friends now, so it's like tongue in cheek now. It's like not like real anymore.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
actually like really they talk like every day now. They're like best friends.
Yeah.
So now like they're marketing the LIV with like that old drama. It's kind of fun. They're both there now. They both got paid.
Even when the Lakers Celtics stuff was going on, kind of the Kobe and Kevin Garnett, there was like I think there's respect, but they didn't like each other. And then now over the last 10 years.
And then you have the Spurs in that mix too, just like
for sure, no one liked them.
Secretly winning, but like none of them like had any personal drama, but everybody just hated them.
Yeah, no one liked the Spurs, and then
they were playing good basketball, and it wasn't fun to watch.
Yeah, and
they're playing how everybody plays basketball now.
Some of it's dependent on your leader, right? Like Steph Curry just seems like a nice guy, so like it's hard to hate. What are you just gonna hate the Warriors for no reason? Because he just seems nice. He's doing hella charity. He's always got a smile on.
Well, everybody's kind of coming after him and his wife now, though.
His wife, I feel like, is stirring the pot.
Because they're doing that. They're doing like, they're very active in the charity stuff. But then there was some stuff going out in their neighborhood about building low-income housing for affordable housing for
they
people.
Wiling.
Oh, did they NIMBY?
And they signed against it.
Yeah.
And
all this stuff.
They NIMBY'd.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, well.
Yeah. Where do you really stand?
So where do you really stand?
Yeah.
That's kind of stuff. And it's like, man, you should have known, like.
It's coming.
You should have known. You should have like agreed to it, and it probably wouldn't have happened anyways. But now everybody sees your true colors.
Yeah, that's a little rough. That's a tough
everybody.
situation.
Everybody everybody wants to solve the problem until it comes on their doorstep. For sure.
I think that was Mike and I were talking before you got here about there's like no ideologically pure position. Like
with this LIV stuff,
kind of anything, but like we're talking Nike. I mean,
yeah, you think like where your shoes are made.
Yeah, so that's my point.
Where you just come to work naked.
That last interview where they're interviewing,
you can't buy a Tesla.
Yeah, no, you can't buy anything. The tweet you're making saying I support slavery is on something you supported slavery with.
Correct.
Right. So like they're hating all this.
Up.
Yeah, they're drilling Phil Mickelson and all this stuff about the LIV stuff, and he answers it okay. He tries to dig in. The other guys just kind of ignore it. Mm-hmm. But the questions they're asking, I would just fire back like, all right, man, you're a golf analyst. Mm-hmm. You're so humanitarian. You're wasting time right now. Go do something that matters then.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, where's that microphone in your fucking hand made?
Yeah.
I see you got Nikes on.
Yeah.
Like you're worried about all these rules in Saudi, and I'm not saying I'm for those rules.
No, for sure. Yeah,
but
obviously.
you can only make an impact where you make an impact. Like I can't change the whole world, but I could make the grass around me a little greener. And so if I believe what I'm doing is right with what I'm doing, and one guy answered it pretty good. He's like, hey, man, I think the sport of golf is cool. I think it helps a lot of people mentally and physically, so I'm going to spread golf the best I can. I forgot who said that, but I was like, that's a great take.
I think it was Cameron Smith, maybe.
It might have been. And I was like, that's a great
take. End of episode 3, I think.
Yeah. I was like, that's a great take because that's your power, bro. Like, yeah, your voice matters or whatever. And then the other point I brought up is like, if these guys weren't in this LIV thing and they started bringing up all these politics, what would that same analyst say? Hey, shut up and hit the ball. Yeah. That's what they tell him to do. So which one do you want him to do? You want him to play golf, or now you want him to run for president?
Yeah,
they're like,
sure.
Well, fuck you, analyst.
There's no real answer.
No, there
isn't. There's no correct answer.
No,
someone's going to come at you from every angle.
Right.
It's like there's no real journalism anymore either. You know, it's all fucking kind of everything's fucked up.
Those questions were wild though.
Yeah, they're just trying to start shit.
They dug way the fuck in on these poor golfers.
Well, it's like Cameron Smith's like, hey, look, man, like when we asked them about their LIV thing, they're like, hey, dude, like I just won the PWA championship. Like, why are we talking about that?
Yeah,
my team is in charge of that stuff. Yeah. Wherever I kind of go with that's that. But like, I just won the fucking claret jug. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about that.
And they talk about, in the first few episodes at least, they talk a lot about it, that, fear of not making the cut and like that you don't make any money or whatever. And then having a no-cut league where you're just getting paid, like that's got to at least be appealing.
For sure.
Oh, everything about it's appealing.
Yeah.
I just think that there's people that are like Rory McIlroy, who I fucking can't stand, like thinks he's like for some reason he was the appointed gatekeeper of like what's ethical in golf now, and it's like no one asked for you to be in charge of this. Yeah. No one even really likes you.
Yeah, where are your shoes made, Rory?
Also, like he's like the biggest Nike sponsorship. Right. Like he's just like exactly,
which is all fine, but like all of it's parallel.
But he wants to talk shit about the Saudi Arabia stuff, but then like your entire life and your $1 billion contract with Nike, wherever the hell it is all supported off of child labor and all of
how's women's rights looking in China?
Exactly, dude.
Women's rights in China probably aren't looking too hot.
What is the difference? They're on the same path. We obviously live in a fucked up world.
Yeah.
And there's problems everywhere.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where this is at, and it's like you can do what you can to focus on the positive and project a positive you know, you can project positivity in your own way and do what you can, but like, let's not judge other people when you're doing similar deals.
No, the money in his pocket's just as dirty.
Yeah.
Just as dirty.
That's for sure. Just the fact that these guys we talked a little bit about this before. These guys have made a lot of money in one way or another, but it was all dependent on them, you know, making the cut, being, you know, in the hunt to win,
which I don't hate. Like, I think that's good for sport.
Yeah.
But as an athlete, if I was the golfer, obviously you're going to take the pure check.
But here's the thing too, like what you're saying though, is those guys all have these other contracts with like clothing and stuff now. Like those LIV guys, they're wearing like uniforms.
Yeah.
Now
They're
wearing like logo,
more like unionized.
they're wearing logo on their hat. They're wearing a logo on their polo for their team. They all have team names. It's like the Range Goats got their logos.
Yeah.
They're not, you know, they're not getting a Nike check for that. You know, they're actually losing what they're gaining in what's it called?
Like salary.
And like guaranteed money. They're losing a lot of endorsements.
Right.
Actually, a lot of the endorsement companies for say like TaylorMade or like these other brands like have dropped their Adidas dropped their contract with Dustin Johnson and Sergio Garcia.
Yeah.
They cut them out.
Which makes sense
when they went
too.
to LIV.
Yeah, and I'm sure they were well
because they probably
aware of
weren't
it.
adding the value anymore though, to Adidas because they weren't wearing Adidas clothes anymore.
Yeah.
They're wearing their team clothes.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, I'm sure he had a $50 to $100 million, probably a $50 million contract with Adidas. I would assume.
Yeah.
Someone like Dustin Johnson.
Yeah.
Were like
so big.
They're so big. Like those guys in the golf world, like they're moving product.
Right.
So I'm assuming it's probably that.
Yeah.
Let's say like Tigers is like $1 billion with Nike, right? Like
crazy.
You know, so it's like we would have to say at least I would have to make a safe assumption that Dustin Johnson's getting $50 million from Adidas.
Probably true. And you know, you talk that over with your family, and you make the decision for you and your family. Like, I don't see the issue with any of it.
I mean, obviously there are plenty of ethical problems everywhere we look. I get that these guys are worried about where the next paycheck is coming from, and it's got to be a big paycheck to support their lifestyle. And we're talking about their big houses and stuff like that. I can see how they're all going to be vulnerable to that particularly if they're not playing great.
Right.
A lot of these guys
or injury, right?
Yeah.
You can't predict an injury or a car crash or anything, and then your life's over.
80% of the field is not tour caliber,
right?
Like top 100 guys, where like you know maybe 10 to 15% of them that went are like can still put up a fight.
Yeah.
But a lot of these guys are later in their career.
You're talking about at LIV?
Yeah, at LIV. There's like some big name like OGs, right? Like you know Phil Mickelson and stuff like that. Sergio Garcia.
Norman running it. I didn't know he ran it.
Yeah, Norman runs it. He's like the CEO.
Yeah, the fucking shark, right?
Yeah, with his little fucking safari hat, or whatever.
I love that.
Fucking down under.
Yeah,
the
I love that
Crocodile Dundee. looks just like him.
Yeah. Yeah. Just an argument to end it all is like, I bet you any golf ball isn't made ethically.
Oh, maybe not. I have no idea how they make.
There's no
golf
way
balls.
they're made ethically. There's just almost no way.
Oh, you're talking about all the plastic?
Yeah.
The urethane? It's all poison.
Yeah, and where it's actually manufactured.
They're going in the water and then they're just sitting there rotting and killing the ecosystem and the fish. Obviously.
And what factory they're made in.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. If
so then,
I don't think any of them are made in the U.S.
It's so unlikely. So then, like, that whole argument to me is just now done.
Yeah.
Mr. McEnroy.
Yeah. Like, do you think that these clubs are just dissolving into the soil?
Yeah.
Like, where's all this old equipment going?
Yeah. You
all
think
the rubber on the grips. It's all polluting. It's all of everything. But like, what are we doing?
And the guys making those are getting paid $50 an hour? No shot.
No shot.
Yeah.
No.
So, to kind of bring it around, my question is this: Who watches golf and like why? And why is it? Because people complain about baseball not moving fast enough, and there's not enough going on, whatever. But golf is arguably 10 times slower than that.
I think a lot of it is the powerlifting deal where it's a participation thing. Because powerlifting and golf is something you can compete at or at least participate in for your entire life, then you're more interested in watching it.
Yeah, no one's watching golf that doesn't play golf.
Yeah, very
Straight
few,
up.
very few.
Unless you're,
5% maybe. Where
probably less.
baseball, like we're not playing it all the time, et cetera, et cetera. And yeah, you can be a fan of sports without participating in them, but I think there's more interest and more heart in something when you participate in it, right?
Well, are there more people, say in America, playing like beer league softball than there are people who are playing golf?
No, there's so
No,
many
golf's
golfers.
huge.
Yeah,
Golf's
golf is
huge.
fucking giant.
Especially now in the like last 5, because like
Yeah.
the COVID effect on golf, like everything tripled as far as like revenue.
Even
and all
before,
that.
I bet. And the beer league is like probably way more age
I
dependent.
mean, you try and go out to like Hagen Oaks here on like a Saturday.
It's jam. No, even
There's 10,000 people
on
there.
the summers, so you go to the driving
Not
range.
literally,
It's
but like,
insane.
there's probably a couple thousand people there
No, yeah, easily
on the driving range.
Yeah, where the beer league thing, I think there's still an age limit. There's not 60-year-olds running bases. Where there's you go to golf, and that's another thing why I like powerlifting is golf. Although it's ethnically not quite there yet, it's getting there. The diversity in age and male female is huge.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, there's a lot of women competing in this,
Yeah.
and men both competing in the sport. It's not just like male dominated, like like a baseball situation.
I think if you do have someone special like Tiger also, and they mentioned it with that Indian family, so forgive me, I don't remember his name, where the dad literally just got into golf, never played it, got into it because Tiger was such a phenom and so exciting. Then his son became really good and got third or was really making a run.
I mean,
at
if
one
there
of
was
these-
no Tiger, I mean, golf would be like
Yeah.
an afterthought to
Much more
most
niche.
people. It would have been like there would have probably been no money in golf.
Tiger looks fucking old.
I don't know, poor guy.
He played pretty good the couple of
I know,
last
Yeah.
week.
but he's just been through it too, physically,
sure.
mentally.
He's still driving the ball 330 though,
I know.
Yeah.
Sounds like me, huh?
which is insanity. It's insanity.
Seabass has seen
You
it.
can't even turn anymore.
I cranked that thing,
Crank that like a Soldier Boy.
dude. Seabass on it.
I believe it.
Not always straight, but it'll go fucking
Yeah.
halfway
Fucking Tiger, man. That's just that whole thing. Yeah, and it's we all want to watch the old show kind of walk down
Yeah.
the course, and we expect the best out of him. And
Yeah, dude, just the hope that he can spark up one
well,
weekend.
because he did it in like 2019.
Yeah.
Like
He
came
still
back
can.
from his back surgery, then won fucking the Masters. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah, even competitively.
I watched that the other day again. I've watched it like 5 times. It's the most crazy. Like
Yeah.
it's like I watched it's on YouTube. Like the final round of the 2019 Masters. You just watch Tiger, fucking
yeah,
this
crank.
like 12th hole. Just all of a sudden, there's one mistake this guy makes. You just see Tiger's face literally. You just see his whole body language and his whole presence just shift. It's like, oh, there's a door.
Yeah, here
you
we go.
see it.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts, dude. I've watched it. Like I said, it's 5 hours long. I've watched it.
I
Fucking
mean, there's a
3
reason
times.
people like could, talk about him like an MJ or like
It's
a
crazy,
Kobe or
dude.
something. That's the other cool thing about golf is what's Tiger now? 50?
I'm sure he's 40 something.
Yeah,
I
but he's
don't
not
know.
young, and he's literally going head to head with a 23-year-old.
Yeah.
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 You don't
Yeah.
get that in other sports besides like powerlifting.
Yeah.
Even weightlifting, you don't get it.
No, because there's like weight age groups,
Yeah,
and,
when you're
and
gonna
Tiger
get-
will never play on the Champions Tour. No
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
chance. He'll just quit
Yeah.
and just
47.
Yeah.
40 yes, 50. Yeah.
But he's in the conversations. He could still be in a conversation.
Well, shit. I mean, he was only 10 strokes off the lead. He got like
Yeah.
in the Genesis term, like he was like made a lot of money. If he was like talking about money, like he was in like the money
Yeah.
top 20.
Yeah.
So if you take injuries out of it, it really seems like golf is, if you have talent, golf is all about the mental part of it, and
Very mental. Yeah.
and maybe golfers might be more prone to the yips than most any other sport.
Yeah, anything you have like a repeatable motor pattern, like you're like that has to be the
Yeah.
same every time. It's
Yeah.
like you're more likely to get the yips, right? That's what they say. It's like
I don't
like
know.
a baseball swing and a golf swing. It's like anything that's like that repetitive, you're most likely to like get in these streaks of like can't do it. Can't
I
even hit
wonder
the ball.
why. Because like basketball shooting, I would put close to that category, right? Like form
Mhm.
shooting.
Yeah, that happens though.
Yeah, I haven't seen it that much. Not as much as baseball for sure.
Some guys
or
just
golf.
start bricking.
For sure, but like I don't know if it's a culture thing or not, but like shooters shoot is a term we say, and it's just like just keep yeeting. You just keep
Well, that's what
yeeting.
these golfers do. They don't quit.
I don't know, dude. Brooks like he looked like he was about to quit.
Well, he just fucking blows the ball past. He can't putt to save his
Bro,
life.
he looked like a
blows
worse
the-
putter than me.
He's not
My
good at
mom
putting.
was laughing
He
at
did
him.
it this weekend. He was doing the same shit in
My
the
mom's like,
documentary.
"What is he doing?" He's like 2 feet away and he's yeeting that thing like Donkey Kong.
He still does that.
It's
I think
just
he's
so
trying to
weird.
hit through the break because
Yeah.
he's just so scared of like leaving it. Like
Yeah.
he's just like he's struggled with putting.
It is.
But putting is
interesting.
like it's weird thing with putting is so weird. It's like some people are just naturally good at it, don't need to practice
a little
much,
touch.
and some people are just like fucking awful at it. It's like how they can like it's like an imagination thing. Number one, you need
Yeah.
like a pretty creative imagination to be good at putting, and just shot shaping in general. I think that's why Tiger like constantly see him you'll see Tiger, you watch him play a round, constantly closing his eyes and just like playing it out. very
Yeah.
visual. What is the word?
Visualization.
Visualization. He does that all the time, and his whole cue is like, take a picture of the hole. That's what he does in his brain. It's like he looks at the hole when he's putting, and he like looks twice, and then takes a picture of it. He says, that's just like his cue or whatever, and then he looks at the ball, and he just thinks about the picture, and then putts at the picture. He doesn't look at the hole anymore. Now he just putts at the picture in his head.
That's one obviously big difference between like form shooting, obviously the distance and the ball size and all that, but like you're not looking at the hole when you shoot in golf.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Like
That
basketball,
is-
your
yeah.
eyes are locked in. Pitching, your eyes are
Yeah.
locked in on that glove. Like it is kind of a weird concept.
It's a weird thing.
Tennis, I'm sure. I don't know how tennis works.
You're probably, it's more like a peripheral.
I don't know. Yeah,
Like it's like hitting a baseball.
because
with
the
a
ball's
bat.
yeah.
Like you're supposed to be.
Looking,
They say like look at the ball, but it's physically impossible.
yeah, in baseball it's impossible for sure.
But like you're like kind of. It's like a peripheral thing. Like,
Yeah, you're praying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the question: if they're obviously trying to innovate golf, but basically innovate competitive golf.
Mm-hmm.
What if golf was a team sport with specialists? So you have like a drive
Like
guy,
a scramble.
Yeah, scrambles are fun. I don't think they do them on like a big competitive level, right? But
No, they don't do like competitive.
you know scramble. So
Mm-mm.
scramble basically be all three of us would hit from the tee, and then we take the best ball and we each grab our ball and then we hit from there, and then we hit again and we all grab our ball and we hit from there.
I think the Ryder Cup has like a best ball.
But best
Thing.
ball is
That's
different,
the most.
right?
That's the most team. So every year every 2 years is the Ryder Cup, and it's the USA versus international, and it's like a team style PGA like
best ball's best score per hole, though, right? Or do I
Best
have that
ball-
backwards?
Best ball would be like if me and you were on a team and I score a 4 and you score a 5, my score
Yeah,
count.
but
My
then
4
scramble's
counts.
how I explained.
Scramble is when you-
Scramble's fucking fun.
yeah, scramble's like
Yeah.
what you'll do at like a local tournament.
Yeah.
at, like
Because then it does
Hey.
feel like specialists. Like, oh, we're grabbing Jim because we know he can putt and we can hit the long
yeah,
ball.
you kind of build a team.
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
that's a lot of
He's
fun.
really good at putting,
Yeah.
so we'll have him on our team. You
Yeah.
kind of build your team around like you want a well-rounded team.
And there's like little rules sometimes where like through a round you have to use at least one shot from each person and stuff like that. But it's a lot of fun.
yeah, sometimes
Way more casual.
I was just thinking in terms of baseball, like you got to, some teams use openers now where
Right.
you pitcher pitches the first 2 innings or whatever.
Well,
and
starting
then-
pitcher now, pitches maybe 3 innings. Baseball's so fucking like changed now. It's like crazy.
Yeah. And you have a closer, you have a mid innings
Yeah.
guy, you have whatever.
You have 4 closers now.
Yeah, scramble's kind of like that. It would be fun to see like some of the best do it, but I think the issue is that the best are just so damn good. It almost wouldn't affect the score as much.
Yeah, it would be sick. It would be cool if they did something like that. I think people would be more receptive to.
Yeah.
Like that's all of YouTube golf.
Right, or you grab
Like
huge
YouTube golf
celebrities.
is so big now.
You grab celebrities that are really good, like
Mhm.
Steph can actually play, and then you do a scramble with him and some pros.
But that's what these YouTube kids
Yeah.
are doing.
That's fun.
They're getting guys of that caliber. They're getting pros. Like so now, like YouTube golfer guys, right now they sign deals with Callaway,
Right.
and these kids now got these deals with these pro companies, these pro club makers, and then Callaway takes all of their pros
Right.
and filters them through these YouTube
Yeah,
channels
smart.
as like scramble partners for these kids, and then they're playing with John Rahm and they're
Yeah.
playing with Justin John. You know, and like
Yep.
that's what's happening on YouTube now, and like the golf YouTube has went from like right here to like one of the biggest like growing things on there. Like,
It
these
is fun.
these kids got millions of subs now. They're getting 500K views in 24 hours on
Yeah.
videos. Like they're fucking
Yeah, crush 'em.
killing it.
That's crazy. All right, let's talk about our own ratings for this particular
Yeah.
thing. Not having seen all of it, I'm a little bit handicapped, but I'll just rate it on what I've seen. And we always have a custom rating system. And for this one, I cannot get past the shirtless, pudgy golfer.
I love them.
Joel.
Joel's my
Shirtless
guy.
Joels.
Shirtless Joels. So how many shirtless Joels would you give this, Dean?
I would give it a 3.8 out of 5.
That's fair.
3.8 Joels. Shirtless Joels.
I think I'm
Sure.
going 4 shirtless Joels. Sometimes when you're really into the sport, like you, I feel like
You want a different thing out of it.
or it's a more breaker hit
Yeah.
or miss. It's more hit or miss. Like a lot of
Yeah.
basketball stuff I watch, it's real hit or miss. Like, that's corny and lame, or I've heard that story 100,000 times.
Yeah.
Like, give me something new. But I'm pretty casual observer of golfer, and even when I played, I was obviously casual, but I was in it. And so it's still exciting to me because I don't know any of this generation of golfers.
Yeah.
So and the stories were pretty well told, the emotion side and the mental side. What I did think was different compared to the tennis one we watched is the tennis one was so dialed in on the mentals of the competitor.
Yeah.
And
That's what I wanted out of this.
only a couple episodes were.
Yeah.
Not every episode were. Some was more relationship wise, some was more just golf. So it was, which I liked. Each episode had a different view or a different part that they dug in on, like the friendship or the mental or they jumped around a little bit. But I still think for me, probably a 4.
We'll get back to the tennis one when they drop the second half of it. Let's just do the whole thing. And I heard from Gus, who used to be a member here, who moved to Santa Barbara for school or whatever. He was a D1 tennis player, and he said, "I know all the good stuff." And so like we'll connect with him when we do that. Yeah. I said in my mind, I think in 3.5, 3.75, whatever, something like that, based on what I saw. I think that. They definitely didn't lean in on the likability of the players because that was less in what I saw. You could kind of empathize even with Brooks. You kind of empathize because like he might as well be hitting himself with the club.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it was rough. A couple frustrating moments for the viewers.
Not self-deprecating like Joel, but like actually
destructive,
self-destructive, self-hate kind of.
He was actually on a spiral.
Yeah.
Where Joel seemed lighthearted. That's I think why I liked him too. Like he kind of believed in himself still.
He also looked like he was enjoying himself out there, where Brooks just doesn't seem to be enjoying himself.
And you don't want to be around Brooks. It just doesn't seem fun. Where being around Joel seems like fun.
Correct. It's funny. It's like two different. Like you kind of like you were kind of like they're linear, but also so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Plug away, Dean. Where can people find you, buddy?
Oh, you can follow Caffeine and Kilos if you like watching, stuff about coffee and checking out new clothes.
Coffee.
Yeah, getting some coffee.
Slam out.
Yeah.
CaffeineandKilos.com.
CaffeineandKilos.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, new episode every Wednesday and Friday. I'm Silent Mike, where you want to find me. 3sb.co for clothing. GoodCompanyDiscord.com if you want to tap in on exclusives, some sales, and first look and touch on all apparel drops. And I'm Silent Mike, where you want to find me.
I am at the Jimmy D on all the social media. This show is 50% facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% Facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. And timing-wise, this episode, we're recording it before we go to the Arnold. So if you see us there, say hi. And if you're weird, don't. That's really the bottom line.
I'm excited to see it without, hopefully, the fucking LIV undertone of like.